How do you checkmate in chess without a stalemate? Imagine you are close to winning but accidentally end up with a draw instead of a victory. That's what happens if you cause a stalemate instead of checkmate. So how do you finish the game with a checkmate and avoid stalemate? Let's explore some simple steps to make sure your final move is a checkmate, not a stalemate. First, remember that checkmate happens when the opponent's king is under attack and has no legal moves to escape. Stalemate occurs when the king is not in check but cannot move anywhere legally. To avoid stalemate, you need to be careful when cornering the king. Do not block all its escape squares too early. Keep at least one square open until your final move. Use checks to limit the king's options. Checks force the opponent to respond, either by moving the king or blocking the check. This keeps the game active and prevents stalemate. As you get closer to checkmate, leave some escape squares open for the king. This way, the king can move around until you deliver the final check. Watch out for common stalemate patterns, especially with a queen and a lone king. If you are not careful, you might accidentally trap the king with no legal moves but not put it in check. To do this well, gradually reduce the king's mobility. Use your pieces to control escape squares while keeping the king in check. For example, if you have a queen, position it so it covers key escape routes but doesn't block all of the king's options too early. Always check that the king can still move somewhere until you make your last move. When you are ready to deliver checkmate, make sure the king is in check and has no legal moves left. This means the king is under threat and cannot escape because all its escape squares are covered or blocked. Remember, the key is to keep the king under pressure with checks and control its escape routes carefully. If you do this, you will deliver a checkmate that wins the game without accidentally causing a stalemate. So, focus on gradually tightening the net with checks, leaving some escape squares open until the very last move, and always double-check that the king has at least one legal move until the final check. That way, you will finish your game with a clean checkmate and avoid the draw of stalemate.